I got up a little early this morning. Brent Abel here, Gold Ball Hunting. Yeah. Wow. Episode number 360, Jeff. We are just crushing it. We got, including start 5 more, I guess, or 6 more, including today. And we hit 365, 1 year of hanging out together with you guys. And I'm going to ask you guys a question today. And then I'm going to ask Jeff a question. And then we'll kind of see where that goes. So guys, hang in there for the rest of this episode, because this is going to be like real good.
So the big question is this: how are tennis players like us who never played on the tour, weren't incredible juniors, or maybe got a late start to the game, how do we consistently compete at our highest skill level without having to grind through endless hours of on-court practice time and still be in the hunt for the victory match after match? That is the question, and Gold Ball Hunting gives you the answers by helping you eliminate your skill level range so that you build a strong foundation of confidence. My name is Jeff Jacklich, and along with Brent Abel, my partner, welcome to Gold Ball Hunting.
Young Jeffrey, what is going on there? Son, what's happening?
Kicking the tires and lighting the fires, baby. Getting ready to roll down to Palm Springs today.
Oh, coming in hot. I can see it right now.
Yeah,
all the traffic.
Got to get down there in time to get a hit in.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. Have you already got a hitting partner lined up?
I know this guy named Brent Abel who said yesterday that we were going to hit on the grass.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I think you can count on that.
Arrange that possibly.
Yeah, I can probably handle it. I'll talk to my people. I'll have my people call your people.
Great. Have a little cooperative crossover. Okay. So.
Yeah. That's right. Well, cool. So you're going to be down here for a couple of weeks, right?
At least, yeah. Like from today.
So are you down here starting today until the end of the Wilson?
27th. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
because there's really not that much gap time in there between the end of the plaza and then there's only 3 days before we do the workshop, and then
that's right.
And then we're in. So it was like I kind of initially kind of thought there was like this bigger gap time in there, and it's like, wow, there really isn't.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to. So, well, guys, listen. So, with that said, let me kind of tell you what the schedule coming up is for the next 3 weeks down here in the desert. Let's see. Well, we've got the workshop starting. What's today? Wednesday.
Thursday. Next Thursday.
So starting a week from tomorrow, we still have a few spots left in there for next Thursday's 1-day workshop. The following day, Friday the 17th, is sold out. But if you're down in the desert, playing the tournaments, even if you're not playing the tournaments, this is something you're going to really, really get a lot of value out of. In terms of, I was thinking about it yesterday. This is kind of interesting. We keep saying we're not teaching theory. However, we are looking at each player individually and bringing maybe different theory to them that would apply individually to them, which would be based on observation, observing this player play and go, man, you do this one thing super well. I don't know if you know it, but you do it super well. And this other thing you're trying to do, probably not your fault that it's not going too well, because it's been so hyped. It's been so hyped, online, tennis channel, all this stuff, whatever it is. I think it's best if you just drop that thing, because it's not working for you.
Right. Can I just reduce it down?
It sounds like losing weight. Spot reducing.
Can we just get what we're going to be aiming at here is practical application of you as the individual and your individual skill set.
Bingo. And look, it might be that there's something you're trying to do that's not working out. We might sort of repair that in a way to just give you a different mindset.
Right.
And just say, actually the target you're trying to hit out and the mindset you're trying to use with this shot, it's not the technique. It's that you're just choosing to go to the wrong spot with that shot at the wrong time. And we'll just kind of
and part of this too as well is going to be We all know that, in senior tennis, the drop shot is a must have, and really, but you have to understand how to construct a point to make it the most effective. So a lot of the stuff too that we're going to be going through is you understanding, taking it out of classic tennis theory and getting into the practical application of your age group, your skill set, and how to construct it so you can use, let's say, a broader selection of the skills you have, probably abandoning some, but also then bringing some maybe that you hadn't thought of back in. Just once you learn how to construct the point correctly to actually use some of the tools in your toolbox that you've tried but haven't had success with, and probably some of that is going to be because you just didn't construct the point right.
Yeah. So listen, guys, if you're on the fence on this thing, there's 2 links down below this video, or if you're listening to it on iTunes, there's in the show notes a couple links. Number one is the workshop information video Jeff and I shot a few weeks ago. Go watch that first. It's about 20 minutes. Got to carve out a little time, but it'll give you really we're going to detail for you everything that you're going to get. And it's just not like a one-day kind of hit and giggle thing. This actually starts on Monday, next Monday the 13th.
Right.
And you'll see why. And then we've got the one-day workshop, and then we have 4 weeks of follow-up with you guys, because we got to keep you engaged, not let you kind of drift off the reservation on this thing, which is easy to do. I mean, it's so easy to, be taught something or teach and try it for, didn't really work. A lot of this stuff, so that there's this instant, whoa, that's great. And then you go out the next day and you go, darn it, this is going to take a little work. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, magic bullet, no. Quick fix, no. Epiphanies, aha moments, yes.
Yes.
Which are the beginning of the work. So, guys, check out if you've already watched that information video. There's also another link to the application, the workshop application, which everyone's required to fill out. We make sure we got everyone in the right skill level group. So, guys, we're running out of time. If you're thinking about it, let's get her done. Jeff, you and I are going to be, so since you're getting down here today, starting tomorrow, Thursday, the 9th, I think we'll be spending a little bit of time over at the Plaza tournament. Well, and you've got a couple matches coming up. Friday, the 10th, you've got a mixed doubles match and a men's doubles match, which will be of high entertainment value. I've been told. Yeah, I've seen the trailer, and the trailer to that movie is just
great,
so compelling. I can't wait. I've already bought my ticket. So
there you go. Okay,
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward. Hey guys, listen. So, all right, we've been attacking enough here. I want to ask. I asked this question to everybody, I think, or didn't ask it directly to where I want you to do something with it, but I'm going to do that today. And that is, we start at the top. This is episode number 360. We're just a handful away from a full year. And so I want to hear from everybody, and I don't care how you get us the information, whether you send us an email to let us know at goldballhunting.com, or in the YouTube comments or Facebook, or Pony Express it to us. I don't care. Anyway, smoke signals, if you know that, how to do it. But look, what's the one thing that you've really gotten out of the Gold Ball Hunting, the first year of the Gold Ball Hunting podcast? And, if you're new to us, that'd be kind of interesting to hear. If you're brand new, like, you've only had a couple of episodes, is there something that's kind of come across you already? But if you've been with us for a while, or if you've been with us the whole time, I'd love to know, what have you really gleaned from the entire year? What is the one thing that's really kind of just gone, man, if I only get one thing out of 365 episodes, that's the thing. So we'd love to hear from you, because if I kind of see where we get, several different, there are going to be some common responses around certain themes, but I'd love to dig into each one a little bit deeper, maybe starting episode number 366 is, let's kind of yak attack about that a little more. So, and I know for me, Jeff, and I've actually learned a lot about my game, and I've learned I've learned about my own game, but I've also learned a lot about coaching as well.
Yeah.
And, some of it is sort of some thoughts that I had rumbling around in there for years, if not decades. And all I needed was just kind of that confirmation of
Right. Little
and,
push.
and the confirmation with this stuff. And it's kind of like learning anything. I think you got to hear it a few times.
Yeah.
It's just not like a one time, boom, the big light bulb goes flying off. So, I'll let you think about it as I kind of go through mine. But I think the one thing that I've really learned about my game over the last year is this whole theory about serve plus one and return to serve plus one, and how that affects the practice court. And that whole thing, though, the serve plus one, return plus one's not. We're not the inventors of that. We got this thing from Craig O'Shaughnessy, who is kind of known out there as the stats guru, but I think he wants to be known more as a strategist based on numbers. And I know that I don't know if he's still working for Novak, but I know he was for quite a while last year. And I think for me, what it's done with the practice court, it's gotten me to be thinking a lot more about the first two shots. Or I should say the first two, about my first serve, a high quality first serve percentage to the body. And then the other shot that I'm practicing a lot is simply the return to serve, because we now know, we have hard evidence that the 0 to 4, right, shot tolerance, right? So the serve is 0 would be a double fault.
Double fault, right.
1 would be the serve went in play, but it could have been an ace or it wasn't returned.
Yeah.
And then 2 shots, if there's only 2 shots in that point, that means serve went in, the return came back, and that was it. And the 0 to 4 comprises on all levels, from the Fed matches down to the beginners.
And I've charted 3-5 women's matches with just this in mind, and it literally is almost identical in percentages, with
72%.
With about 70%.
Yeah.
Being
72%, give or take a point or two. And so yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats of the matches that we've recorded, they all kind of work. So for me, it's really been that focus of stop hitting so many freaking cross court forehands, drilling. Stop doing that. And actually start doing more. I mean, I had a big win in the semis of the hard courts this year. I'm thinking about this match in particular. Played the number 1 seed, Patch Bolton, at the hard courts in June in Irvine. And I'd never beaten this guy before. We'd always had really close. I think I was 0-3, and 2 of the last 2 had gone 3 setters. And so this time, based on the stuff that we've been talking about during 2019, I just said, look, I got to keep this guy out of the corners over there. I got to stop hitting balls to the corner and letting him have this view of the court. And we all say, well, geez, I mean, up the line is kind of a low percentage. It might be, but when you go to a corner, now all of a sudden the geometry of the court just fans open. And and man, so I just played every shot right down the middle, and let them contribute to a lot of points that I won. I did the same thing in Umag in the quarters this year in Croatia, the team event in the quarters against Canada. I played a top guy in my age group, Ken Dahl, on the red clay, and I knew that on the red clay, if I got into the corners, if I hit balls in the corners over there, the ball's going to go over there and sit. And he's got to go, oh, well, thank you. Boom. So I just played the ball right down the middle. And you know what? It worked. So that's kind of, maybe that's more than one thing. But the big thing for me is how do I practice now? And I've stopped practicing this forever cross court drilling, just because that's not the high percentage of shots that we play.
Right.
And then I think on the coaching side, it's really been trying to convince someone when I first see them, or when they first come to me, is that this is not about me digging into your stroke technique and having you have to master something. This is really much more about one of the things. We've now expanded the things to 15, but one of them is, look, I can't really help you until I see some video. Was that a cough of, oh my God, you're so wrong, as opposed to?
No, I was a little hairball.
You gotta stop.
Cleaning the cat.
You gotta stop.
I was cleaning the cat this morning. I was cleaning the cat this morning. A little hairball. Sorry.
Anyway, but I just think video is
totally.
Once you get into someone's, a student's head, that you have to see yourself on video, and there's that initial shock of, it looks like I'm barely moving. It looks like I'm not trying. Okay, well, but you remember how you felt during that match, and God, I was working my butt off. Okay, so everyone else looks the same, right? To me, it doesn't look like you're not working. It looks like you're trying, blah, blah, blah. But it's that initial thing, and then you start to get over that, and that to me is where the learning really starts. Is getting away from. And we had a coaching. We actually had a free coaching call yesterday with a guy, and that was our recommendation was, look, he was a 4.0 plus. He was around 4.2, 4.3, maybe some days at 4.5 is he kept alluding to things about what he's doing with his game, and it was all based on technique. And he even said, how do I stop thinking about stroke production and start? And I said, well, the best way to do it is to go watch some video yourself and don't critique technique. Yeah. And so to me, that's the fastest way for someone. Now we talk about the kitchen and fitness as being the fastest, but video is a close second.
Yeah.
So those, I think those are the things for me, Jeff, that over the last 360 episodes last year. What about you?
The 0 to 4 is a really interesting, the implications can be so misinterpreted, misunderstood, and a lot of guys, are over, let's say, trying to overachieve in the first 4, thinking that they're trying to end the point in 0 to 4. And so for me, in my coaching, it's really getting the players to understand, okay, 0 to 4 is the highest percentage of the number of, balls hit and 70% of the points you're going to play today. So that means 2 for you, 2 for your opponent. So doesn't it make sense then to hit the highest quality first 2 balls, not ace, the highest quality serve I can hit that the guy can still touch, and the highest quality.
Well, you just conditioned the highest quality by saying, because most people think when highest quality, that must mean the ball will not come back.
Yeah, nobody touches it. That's not what I'm getting at, right? And that's not what that's not what the numbers say either.
Right.
And so it's really important that the players understand that it's really and again, the first 2 shots, the 2 shots that you're going to hit the most of is a serve and a return of serve. I mean, and it's, as a player, when I finally kind of changed the lens I was looking through and decided, hitting a serve, I equated it to a penalty kick in soccer. I get to put the ball here. I have a defender, but I get to kick it. I get to hit it anywhere in that box that I want to. And so at that moment, I totally shifted how I approached my serve. And that's when my volley then became so deadly, is because my serve I really became a target server. I could crack a ball pretty good. Definitely wasn't the hardest server out there. But my accuracy, I really found that, I kind of took a lesson from McEnroe at the time. He was so deadly accurate with his placement on the serve that his first volley just became so surgical at that point. It was just like, again, deadly 1-2 punch. So that for me falls into that category of 0 to 4. How accurate can you make your first serve? Not how many aces can you hit, but how accurate can you hit your target on your serve? And then with the return of serve, how quickly can you get to that point in a match where you feel like you can actually take some cuts at that return and do some damage on the return, and not about hitting up the line winners and not about hitting that, but really just hitting a return back with some authority that makes the server just rush a little bit. That's all we need. We just need the server to feel like he's being pressured a little bit off the return. And so players need to spend so much more time, service accuracy, and really understanding that the return to serve is ultimately, especially if you're hitting, playing against somebody who serves well, is a shortened, abbreviated version of your basic strokes. And that takes practice to learn that, to feel that all I want to do is get the racket square to the ball and use the middle of the court as your basic target when you first start doing this. But to understand that all I'm trying to do, I don't worry about, oh, am I hitting a top spin return? Am I trying to blah, blah, blah? It's like, no. If I can get a quick jump on the ball and get my racket square at contact, I feel like I'm in control of the point, literally. I feel like I'm like right there. And so I would encourage, for me, this whole year about really narrowing this thing down. Those are the two shots, strokes, whatever you want to call them, the things that really kind of get left on the table when you go to the practice court. Everybody's so hyped and worried about, again, like yesterday, my technique and how to make the ball land over there. Well, how about if you just make the ball land over there? How about if you just like remove the technique thought and thought, well, how do I make the ball do that? How do I make the ball land there? And so I'd say another major point in my coaching process this year for me was getting players to, like, you get to move as the ball's coming at you to hit. You get to actually adjust, which means you have the opportunity to make the ball fit you and make the ball fit your specific technique, which means you actually get to adjust forward, backward, left, right, and find a place for that ball to come, right, bounce up into your favorite spot or come off the bounce down into your favorite spot. And so you have way much more control over that than people realize. And so I encourage players to make the ball fit you, number one. And then what I see out of that then is they're much more apt to, they get a little bit more energized in their footwork then. Oh, I see, I get it. I can actually take an extra little step there. And now that forehand feels like so much better, which means now they're going to be X amount more accurate. The other thing in that same vein is getting the players to understand their strike zone. I only hit certain balls because the ball is in a certain part of my strike zone. I only use certain slices, certain carbs, because the ball is in the prime spot to actually execute that particular, flight path that I want to make the ball do. And I think that's been a big thing lately too, with a lot of the gold ballers I've been working with. It's like, you're really fighting the point here. Can you just hit the ball back using what is the most comfortable, shot for you to hit when the ball is in this part of your strike zone? What seems the most comfortable to you? And players now are starting then to read that and kind of go, oh, okay, when the ball's up here, maybe I shouldn't think about hitting a really hard linear ball. Yeah, no, maybe you shouldn't. And you're 5 feet behind the baseline. Last thing you need to do is get the ball to your opponent quicker. So combining those two things too. So I'd say those things in particular over the course of this year have really helped define how I move a player from kind of having a limited view and seeing their shot selection as a little narrower and not understanding that they already have the skills to actually have a broader skill set. But understanding though that where in the strike zone do I choose that tool? And where in the strike zone do I choose a different tool? And I think that is eye-opening for a lot of players. And I'm just like some of the gold ballers, and literally players that have teased getting a gold ball and players that have won gold balls right now. We're just having they're just like, all of a sudden the weight is lifted off their shoulders because they have permission now to hit certain shots that they always kind of apologized for in the past, where it's like, oh, that was just a bailout. And I'm looking at it going, okay, so what if we use that instead of a bailout? What if we use that over here if you actually got aggressive with it and like went after it. And it's like all of a sudden they feel like, you mean I don't have to crank a topspin backhand? No, you don't. And literally, it's like a player, all of a sudden, they lift this weight off their shoulders, and all of a sudden, they move smoother around the court because they're not feeling like they have to do so much with their favorite shot because they feel like they can't do enough with the other side. And so now all of a sudden, the other side is starting to feel like, you know what, I can do this all day. Great. Which is freeing up their other side then to not be so like feel like you've got to do so much damage with your favorite shot because you're so worried about trying to do this other thing over here on the other side. So I hope that makes sense. But that for me is kind of like this what this year has kind of culminated to, and I'm using it on the teaching court, on the coaching court. And like I said, players are kind of just going, oh, you mean it's okay? Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I think the reality is everyone, let's put it this way, no one has every shot that you would consider, hey, you can actually give this ball a ride and do some damage with it. My backhand, for example, is, unless you really press me, unless you're coming in behind the ball and you're over my backhand side, and I've got a ball where I can step in and maybe take a little time away from you, so I have a bigger target that my pass into. I might roll that ball a little bit. But I see too many players out there just on standard rally balls or backhand trying to really work this top or backhand. And for me, what I've discovered over the years is that, look, even if I top it, I'm not going to hit a ball that's not touched over there. And the problem for me with thinking I got to top every rally ball is I'm not as accurate with my placement. I'm not as efficient with my footwork in terms of if I get stretched out a little bit and want to get back the middle. And frankly, having to grind through topspin technique just takes so much energy. It's like stupid. It's like, aren't we out here trying to conserve and be super efficient as opposed to the other guy who I talked about the other day with, well, I just want to be, I want to be semi-fit so I don't try too hard. Okay. But anyway, so I think that it goes into that vein of what you're talking about, which is you've got permission if you need to hit 7 slice backhands in a row to that one target, until the guy gives you something that you can really work on. I mean, and it's going to happen. And 7's like just a ridiculous number. You'll never hit 7 slice backhands.
That's a 14-ball rally.
It's not going to happen. And if you lose that point, big whoop.
So what?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter that it was 14 hits. It still only counts as 1 point.
That's right. That's right.
And then on that same note, it does working so hard to hit that topspin backhand or the topspin forehand on every ball. How much is it moving the meter in terms of the point construction itself? Is it doing any damage? And or as opposed to, God, if I just slide this backhand again, I'm really kind of in the same. We're still. It's a break-even proposition whether I hit a slice or whether I hit a topper. And so you really kind of like as you start to watch your own match video and you start to understand point construction a little better. You're really like, is this really moving the meter if I come over the top of this ball?
Well, and you think about the slice backhand is that if you're always trying to top it, guess what I know if I'm playing against you? I know there is not a possibility, as you said in the very beginning, of a drop shot coming. There's just not. And like if you're going to go from a full Eastern grip backhand topper, the setup, I mean you're just telling everybody in the world what's coming next, right?
Right.
And if you somehow want to fiddle around at the last second and go into a drop shot mode, guess what? It's going to be like a horn going off. It's like a big foghorn going off, and so everyone's going to go, "Oh, okay, well here comes the dropper," and you can.
The big neon sign, flashing. Eat it, Joe's. It's like a drop shot.
So, look, I mean, senior tennis reality also is about disguise and so you got to be thinking about, well, what shots could you hit over and over that are disguising what you're about to do next? And so think of it that way too. I don't know. Anyway, listen, guys, we better cut this off. We got to get the dogs out there in the desert, get a little run.
I got to get on the road.
You got to get going. A couple things, guys. First of all, would love to hear from you. What have you learned this year? What's the one thing that really sticks out to you? Let us know either by sending us an email. Let us know at goalballhunting.com. Down below, YouTube comments. Would love to read and respond to that one thing for you. Or in the show notes, I don't know. Maybe that's an email deal. And then look, we got a few spots left for next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. Next Thursday's workshop down here in the desert, 1-day workshop. There's 2 links down below the video, down below in the show notes. Click them, consume them, fill out the questionnaire, fill out the application, and let's get that last week filled up. Jeff, what do we want to find folks to do right now?
Like us, share us, please subscribe. Let us know what you think down below. iTunes and Stitcher, rate and review. Goalballhunting.com. This is where the good stuff is. Come on, share it.
Spread the word. Guys, get out there today. Help someone else have a spectacular day. Jeff, I'll see you this afternoon, and we'll do this again tomorrow.